Hello, bridge builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at eatlunchandboardgame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast, or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. In this episode, I'm joined by Ole Steiness, the designer of one of my top 5, if not top 3 games in my collection, Champions of Midgard. Ole and I discuss the usual questions, what it is like to vacation in Europe versus the United States, and his kids not wanting to play his games because, well, that's Dad's work. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back to Eat Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins, and with me today is game designer all the way from Denmark, Ole Steiness. How are you doing this morning? Well, I guess over there it's afternoon, right?
Yes, hello Adam. Thank you. I'm doing very well. Enjoying some sunny weather. Except I'm sitting in my basement and doing board game design because that's where my office is.
So, did you have it in the basement before the pandemic, or has it been because of the pandemic you've been relocated to your basement?
No, it's always been there. It's we live in what's it called, chain house or whatever it is. So it's a house that's almost taller than wide. So we have a lot of floors, and it's a way to get some peace from the kids. on,
I hear you there.
so we made an office for me and my wife in the basement. So
So how many kids do you have?
I have two boys at 10 and 13 years old. So
Oh, nice. Big time play testers for you?
well, sometimes, but as it usually is with families, they kind of hate my designs, right? Because it's my work as well, so it takes up a lot of space. Um, so I think it's like a natural thing for them to say, "Oh, don't bother us with your stuff."
That's too bad. I mean, goodness. So, how did you get into gaming?
Oh well, gaming in general, always been into gaming. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the special position, of course, that I'm both a video game and a board game designer. Professionally, and I've been worked with both and enjoyed both for many years. So board gaming, like everybody else, I was playing games, including Games Workshop board games as a kid, and then as a teen, and I got a bit away from it. The computer games started becoming interesting, and then I was introduced actually through my wife to Euro games. I started with classics like Carcassonne and Catan. And then I just went on from there. Discovered that there was so much good stuff going on, so much more than just Games Workshop games. There was not only nerdy games for war enthusiasts, all kinds of good stuff. So I got stuck.
Well, yeah, it's interesting you said that Carcassonne and Catan, those were also my first two in the hobby game, Euro game market. Those are the two that kind of got me going. And so that was always fun. So your game that I'm most familiar with is Champions of Midgard, which is a worker placement game, and I absolutely adore it.
Thank you.
And yeah, oh man, it's easily top 5, if not top 3, behind Carcassonne and Catan as my top 3 games. And it was interesting how I came about the game. It was on the show Tabletop with Will Wheaton, and as I'm watching the episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get this game. And it just turned out that later that year, it was at Geekway, which is the local game convention here in St. Louis, as a play-in win. And so day one of Geekway, I went and grabbed a copy to sit down and play it. I've been hooked ever since, and I love it. I every time I can, I get it to the table. And it's just such a fun take on a worker placement game, because some worker placement games, I don't know, it's just something about this one that's just, I always say you only need a chair for like the first 2 rounds, maybe 3. After that, you're standing up and everybody's cheering and jeering, and you're hoping for and hoping against your opponents, and it's just such a great game. So
I'm so happy to hear that. This is also a game it has a lot of my own soul in it, because this is the game that is probably dearest to my heart. Also because I like these very thematic, action-paced middleweight games, and this is of course one of those. I mean, so I'm proud of it as well. And Gray Fox, of course, did a great game with both the post development and the actual visual presentation of the game. It looks awesome as well, I think.
oh yeah, the visuals are just, they're amazing, and the artwork is just absolutely stunning. And I, like I said, it's easily top 5 of my games. I'm playing it tonight probably, with my
Cool.
gaming group, and they're like, bring Champions of Midgard. I'm like, no problem. I never argue with taking that game. It's just it's such a fun game, because it you can interact with people, and everybody's trying to get to the monsters at the bottom, and everybody's trying to look at the journey cards, and you can tell by what they do, like, ooh, he looked at that journey card, he didn't go for it. My guess is that's probably not at all quiet. Then he just, like, 2 rounds later, swoops in and takes it with all the extra gold on it, and it's like, I should have just gone, and the expansions for it, Dark Mountains adds the people up top, the Bergrazars up through the Land Valley. Oh my gosh, it's with all the different. Once you get past the base game, you start adding more dice. Oh, that's when it gets really fun. You got all the different dice that do different things and can't do certain things and have to do certain things. Oh yeah, that like I said, such a great game. I'm so happy you made it, because it's an absolute blast.
Thank you. Me too.
Oh yeah, and so Gray Fox has a little promo they just put out that for pre-order that I ordered. They still haven't shipped it yet. Come on, Gray Fox, get with it. I need more. Need more Midgard stuff. Now I haven't played Reavers of Midgard yet, mainly because I can't stop playing Champions of Midgard. But I do want to play Reavers of Midgard at some point, so we'll get to it eventually. I know, but like I said, I can't stop playing Champions of Midgard. So such a great game. So if I made it to Denmark, which is probably unlikely right now, uh, what game are you currently playing? What is your current favorite game?
Well, currently I'm playing my own designs mostly because I have to. But my favorite game, I think, because of novelty and my kids, it's probably Horrified, the classic Monsters version, from Ravensburger, because it's a very light-hearted, easy cooperative game and very thematic. When I play with my board gaming buddies, I play Chaos in the Old World a lot. The classic fantasy flight game by Eric Lang, one of his best, if not his best, I think. I really enjoy that asymmetrical chaos monsters battling it out. Different
Nothing
crazy
wrong
tech.
with chaos.
Yeah, and it's kind of deep, right? It's not just tossing dice and hoping for the best. It has a lot of tactics involved and different approaches. I think it's a pretty awesome game.
Yeah, I'll have to give that one a try. I haven't played that one yet. So
You better hurry because they lost the collaboration. They stopped collaborating with the Games Workshop, so it's not in print anymore. I think you need to find a used version, but they made a second edition, so you can probably find it somewhere. I only have the first edition. But
Well, yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't usually stop me. I'll find it somehow.
cool.
Just don't tell my wife how much I spent on it. So, working in your basement, do you get to play a lot of games at lunch?
Usually, I come out of my cave in the basement to not play games when it's lunch. I have the opposite approach, right? When it's lunch, I might just watch some Netflix or walk the dog or enjoy some sun if it's good weather. No, I don't play games at lunch. Quite the opposite.
That's all right. That's all right. I have an office job, so whenever I can get the break to play a game at lunch, I jump on it. Whether I play with my friends over Zoom, where we just play a simple roll and write, or if I play in the office where we've got a trophy, and whoever wins that day's game gets to take the trophy, put it on their desk. So it's very important.
Yes, of
Uh,
course.
right? That's how you get more people interested. Well, I want the trophy. We got to play, and then they sit down to play. And next thing you know, we got a booming gaming group. Yeah, so I use it as a great way to break up my day. Unfortunately, Champions in Midgard's a little longer than an hour.
Yeah.
Though with 4 or 5 people that really know the game, you can knock it out in about 90 minutes. But you gotta be on it to get it under.
But then you have to play Last One Alive. It's much faster. You never guess who the designer is.
Yeah, it's sad. I got that game specifically because you designed it, and it's sitting on my shelf of shame right now.
I have a different way of shaming. I still haven't gotten my own copy, so this is the one my friend bought at Essen last year. I borrowed it. I don't have a copy myself. Shipping delays and all that.
Oh man, no, I've got a copy. I just have not had a chance to sit down and play it. It's a zombie dice game where you're trying to basically send zombies to your opponents, right? And you're trying to defend yourself and kill the zombies and be the last one alive.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a twist on it. The light games, either you are zombies defeating everybody else or everybody's working together. So now I wanted to do like a competitive zombie game, right? So
yeah. No, it looked great. I saw your name on the box and I'm like, yes, I'll take it. And then it has just sat. Maybe I'll take it tonight and force my gaming group to play it with me. If you were to play games at lunch, what would be your go-to 30-minute game? A 30-minute, half-hour lunchtime game?
It would probably be something like Splendor. I play that a lot, especially with my wife and oldest kid. I mean, such a neatly designed engine building game, right? So I like that one. It would probably be that. Or King Domino, also one that's good with the family. So yeah.
King Domino, I remember when I first played it, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on in a very simple design.
Yeah.
And trying to rotate those dominoes and keep within the 5x5. And I was like, man, there is a lot going on here. And because at first I was like, this just dominoes, but it's not. It's a whole different game. And oh my goodness, that's a good one. Splendor's awesome. Do you play any of the expansions?
Yeah, we tried it a bit. I have the expansion box, but actually the core game is so good in its own pure form. So we play mostly the core game actually.
That's what everybody says. Like, oh, I have the expansions. Man, I just play that core game. I don't even have the expansions. I just have the core game. I borrowed the expansions from a friend so I could play them because I'm like, nobody ever plays them. So, I hear they're fine. But everybody's like, but the base game is just so good.
They are fine, but it's like if you have a loaded table with all kinds of cookies and somebody brings in 3 more types of cookies, it's fine, but I'm full already. There's so much good stuff already. So
Yeah, Splender's awesome. It's a very, like you said, a very good engine builder. It's a very good entry level to engine building too. It's not
yeah,
a complicated game where you've got to be paying attention to 14 different things and all these different tracks. It's just and there's no hidden anything. I can look right
no.
at your setup and see exactly what you have, what you're doing, what I have, what I'm doing, and then make
And
my
it's
decisions that
it's
way.
it's so pure because once you explain the core engine building mechanic, you have explained everything, right? And it's how you score, it's how the gameplay works, how the turns work. Everything is just in that. You build your engine, and that's it.
Yep.
So it's not, you don't have to remember a lot of stuff once you have the core rules in place. I mean, it's right in front of you, like you say.
No, it's straightforward. It's great. It's a simple, straightforward game with a lot of replayability and built into it. So, what about a 60-minute game? You got a full lunch hour. What are you putting on the table?
Yeah, well, yeah, probably would be horrified, and Cass in the overall fits into those categories, right? So I guess it would be one of those. Although we can go into some analysis paralysis, and Cass in the overall would probably be a bit longer than. uh, but other than that, maybe if we squeeze it a bit, if we go a bit fast, we would take it. We could do a game of Clank if it's set up, because that's another favorite.
Love Clank. Yeah. Clank's one of those, like you said, got to be on it if it's already set up because it's about a 75-minute game. It
Yeah, it is.
just bleeds over that 1 hour mark, and it's too bad. It is a great game. If you played I have not played Clank in Space. I want to play that one,
No, me neither.
but have you played any of the other boards?
Yeah, we played the Clank Legacy, but unfortunately, my son, who was our third player, he got bored of it. So now we need to see if we can if we want to continue just the two of us. But we also played the expansions. Yeah, the pyramid one, and then I bought this mini expansion with the what is it? It's with the spider and
Yeah,
there's another
and
fourth
the
thing, I
eighth.
think. Gold and Silk Expeditions is it called?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
we
I
played
like
that
that one.
as well.
Yep,
So
that's a
it's
fun
also
one.
cool. It's just to add some variability. I think that's the only thing about the game is that the board is the same. So it's nice to have some new stuff to vary the board a bit more. So
Yeah, and have you played? What's the character pack where it comes with like the four characters that have their own starting deck? Uh,
oh, I haven't tried that now.
yeah, that actually is awesome because it changes the start, right? So before you and I had the exact same hand, this version, like with these, you have a certain character who's got a
Hmm.
certain special ability that I always forget to use, and they've got a different you've got a different 10 cards than I do. And so instead of us just racing to try to get the cards to work at the very beginning, you have 10 cards that are different than my 10 cards, and makes it a lot of fun.
Cool.
Adds more replayability to the game, and because there's different characters you can play. And I do like all the expansions because they're all just very simple, very compatible. It's Clank with this little twist. And, like you said, a different board makes a big difference because the base game, you have the two sides of the board and it doesn't change. But now with all the different boards, you can keep changing it as you go.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite micro game, a small game?
Yeah, some fast stuff that would usually be Love Letter. My
Oh yeah,
family love that.
it's a good one.
And usually my son beats me. That's not fun, but
I have
yeah.
that same problem.
But yeah, so that's probably our go-to of the shorter game. And sometimes we just, if we include the 10-year-old, we play Dinosaur Tea Party from Restoration Games. That's also a fun one, right? Sitting there and pretending to be posh dinosaurs in a tea saloon and and trying to talk like however they would talk as you try to guess who is who. So that's a fun little deduction game. Only problem is, of course, there's a bit of a kingmaker in it because once you start questioning one player, everybody else jumps on that player because that's where you can get the points. But it's a minor thing. It's a really cool game, and again with very cool artwork, right? Very cute
Oh
cards.
yeah, yeah. Restoration Game does some good stuff.
Yeah,
They do, and they put a lot of money and effort into making their games look and play great, and they've really done some good stuff. I like Downforce that they did.
yeah,
Uh, so with all their different tracks and the remake of Nicky Lauda's Formel One and well, it's been called so many different things before, but Wolfgang Kramer. So it's a solid game, and they just gave it a new skin, a couple new mechanics on top of it. Same thing with Dinosaur Tea Party. It was a different game originally. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but it was something else before Dinosaur Tea Party. They rethemed it and
yeah.
brought it back to market. What about a hidden gem?
Yeah, I was thinking about the hidden gem thing, and it's not once you have it because it's out of print. It's not that hidden, but it's a clear one for me, and that is this little gem, which is Conquest of the Empire, the second edition. I think it's I think it's a Martin Wallace who made extra rules from it. It's originally an Eagle Games, and it's like I said, it's not hidden because it's really epic. It's the biggest game you'll ever play. It can't fit on a regular sized four-person dining table because the board itself is huge, and it's like because it's the Roman Empire in all its glory. It's all of Europe with so much extra space that you don't even need. You could actually make an entire board game just out of the blank spaces on the board. So it's very fun to play because it's so epic. So you're like it's like a civil war in Rome, right? Because everybody is Caesar's trying to control Europe and Northern Africa, and it like in Casino World, it has the influence markers that you have to swoop away from underneath your opponents. So, and of course, war is the means to get to that, but it doesn't secure you. Them you have to pay for these influence markers to gain control of regions. It's a dudes on a map game, right? And I really like that because it's not just risk, right? It's not just roll your dice and defeat the others. You also have to get the influence in the territories. Uh, it's a wonderful game, but it has to be that second edition of the rules because other than that, it's a classic risk game. And I haven't tried that actually. I only played with the influence markers because I really like that mechanic. I was thinking about designing a mix of those two games actually. Gems in what's it called? Conquest of the Empire and Chaos in the Old World. That could be a fun thing. I love them both. Maybe toss a bit of Kemet in there as well. That's another great game.
Yeah, that one came across a list. Oh man. So, all I do is eat, sleep, breathe board games and then do my day job on the side to pay for the addiction to board games. And Kemet came across, I'd never even heard of it. Came across a list of like I want to say 10 games that are better than Risk. And I think that's where I came across that one, and it just looked really interesting. Like, and it's kind of old, but not too old.
Yeah.
Um,
And then it was reprinted a couple of years ago, right?
yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, maybe I can find it. Yeah, but yeah, Kemet's on my list to try to find.
It's great because it's attack focused, so you don't turtle around too much, and it's so focused on upgrading. And most people like the upgrades, right? It's the thing that you can customize your army and build it up pretty fast, and it will be unique every time you play. And you have some very cool, plentiful upgrades. Again, visible to everybody. So, and I like that.
Yeah, I approachability is big for me.
Yeah.
People, a lot of fiddly stuff can really slow down teaching somebody a good game. It's why my gaming group has a couple of games that they love that they've been playing for a couple of years before I joined them, and I'm not good at these games because I don't know the game, like, and all these fiddly rules, and I'm like, oh, I just need to understand what am I trying to do here, like. So it's rough, but these other games, as long as they're approachable and you can teach them pretty quick, man, I get them to table, and like I said, I play at work, so I try to get games I can play in under an hour, and just kind of fly through them. So in a game where you have colors like Clank, is there a certain color that you look for in your games that you try to play?
Usually I play blue if it's there, or purple. That's bluish. Uh, that's just you. Always been a favorite color, but yeah, that's usually my go-to color. What about
Well,
you?
there's blue in Champions of Midgard. You know, I usually play red or orange.
All right, yeah,
Red or
orange is a
orange.
cool one as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My son likes purple, so when we design games, there's always a purple in it because that's the color my son likes to play. So purple appears in all the games that I design, and then of course red or orange, so that I have my color. And then after that, it's like my partner likes blue, so we put blue in his game, so there for him. And then we see what other color we have left. And we're like, yeah, I'll throw another one in there for 4 players. So, but yeah, a lot of people like blue. Purple, I wish was in more games. I don't think there's. It just doesn't show up in enough games yet. But it's getting there.
Yeah.
Uh, so what about Kickstarter? Do you ever get on there and back games, or because I know that Gray Fox uses it as their platform to get their games out there. I missed the Champions of Midgard when they did the Jarl edition and stuff. I missed that one. But then they just did a couple. They took Reavers of Midgard was on there, but I just don't know. Do you get on there and back games?
Yeah. Of course, I have my games. Some of them go through Kickstarter, but yeah, I also back some stuff myself. Recently, I'm waiting for like Northgard, based on the computer game. That should come very soon, and a couple of others. I also got it's called boot or U-boat, U-boat, the German submarine. I really like that Das Boot theme of it. I haven't played it yet. It's in my basement also, waiting for me to get
it's
through the rules
it's
and
the
play it.
one you got to put together. It's like 4 feet long.
Yeah, it's yeah, man, it's awesome. I always have a weak spot for these submarine warfare. I want to say games, but that's not true because a lot of them are just too complex. So it's simulators or this. But I like again, it's like it's physical. It's there. It's approachable, and you move around your crew on the U-boat trying to stay alive. But I haven't played it yet. And
No,
I
I haven't played it, but I saw it at a game convention, and it is like a 4 foot cardboard submarine that you have to assemble, that you play in, and on is this giant U
yeah,
boat, and I'm like,
I think it's
okay, that's some table presence right there.
Yeah, I think it's slightly smaller, but it's still an impressive submarine. I mean, the demo model was probably 4 feet, but this is probably, I don't know, two and a half, three. Um, but yeah, I'm looking much forward to playing it. But I have to take the time to learn all the rules, so we don't have to sit and do that with my friends when we actually play it. Other than that, I back that. What's it called now? The Nemesis. That's the name. Yeah. I mean, we're old enough to know and love the Aliens franchise, right? And so did they when they made it. It's probably one of my all-time, or it is one of my all-time favorite movie series. And so this, of course, touches on that vibe.
Oh yeah, I love Nemesis. I didn't back it; my brother did, so I play his copy. Thank goodness, because I didn't have the $300 at the time to back it, or whatever it was, 280 or something. It was crazy. But man, it is, again, great table presence, gorgeous artwork, awesome little minis behind it. The different eggs and uh, different shards or whatever. I mean, the doors that are, you set the doors down, and oh my gosh, it
and
has a table presence.
and of course the story. And I mean, that's something I love about games. I try to have it in the games I design myself, but also the games I play, that they tell stories, right? I mean, I like games like Ticket to Ride and stuff like that, but I rarely play abstract games because I want to play a game where you can talk about what happened, like it's a story afterwards, right? And you can certainly do that in Nemesis.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
I like that.
So what was, you just had a game on GameFound a couple months ago, I guess now, and I haven't figured out GameFound yet. I'm trying to figure out if I want to start backing games over there too and have to worry about a whole bunch of, emails coming in and money going out. But what are you working on now? You got anything in the pipeline you're working on now?
Yeah, always a lot of stuff. Some of it I might not be able to talk about, and some of it is pretty obvious. I think we're still enjoying the Kickstarter success of Deep Rock Galactic. It's in print right now. It's getting printed, and of course we're looking into expanding that universe. But I'm also doing some World War II stuff. I mean, I'm pretty unoriginal in that way. I mean, Vikings and zombies and World War II battles and orcs and all that stuff. Aliens, yeah, I like all that stuff. Yeah, I'm also working on some zombie games. I have an idea for the. I'm working on a zombie worker placement game actually. So,
I'm
and
intrigued already. Are you playing as the zombie, or are you trying to stop the zombies in your worker
yeah,
placement game?
you're trying to survive. It's like a bigger part of Last One Alive because it's a competitive warrior placement game. But it
So
has some
maybe your worker
elements of
placement trying to collect the brains or something as you're with your
no,
workers.
you are survivors, but you have to go out almost Agricola style. But you have to explore the city, and unlike Agricola, you can get eaten by zombies, right? And you can lure away the zombies. So, that's another one I'm working on. But yeah, like I usually say, I have like 50 designs like I started working on, or so I'm jumping around between games. I cannot do 50 games at once, so I try to stick to two is ideal, but I actually have 5 or 6 I need to work. And also, when Essen Spiel is coming up in October, this is my go-to conference because it's the closest of the big ones. So I always need to have something ready for there as well to talk to the publishers about. Uh, but right now, I'm also working with Mood Publishing, the ones that are doing Deep Rock Galactic, and luckily that's a publisher within biking distance because they're based in Copenhagen as well. So that's actually pretty cool because we can talk over all the details, just meet up and play test together. Uh, and not something I could do that often with Grey Fox, unfortunately. That would be a
They're
long
right
bike.
here. Gray Fox is right up the street.
Yeah,
They're
you
in,
have
they're
to
in
go.
St. Louis.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you get a game together and you're ready to pitch it, how long does the pitching process take? Like, how many publishers do you usually have to go to find somebody that wants to take it?
It's of course it depends, right? It's different from game to game. But if I make a design out of the blue, it can take quite a while. It can take a year or something like that before somebody actually signs it. Again, that's kind of like unique from game to game, I guess. So it's easier if I talk to the publisher beforehand and we agree on some stuff, um, and then I design per request. But of course, it's more fun to come up with my own ideas, and I can't help it. I will do it even if I work on contract stuff, and then I have to shuffle it around to different publishers. But it can take up to a year before somebody says yes.
That's not too bad. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like when I design my games, they're, my business partner and I, then take them to Kickstarter and put them out there ourselves. And obviously, they're not champions of Midgard, champions of Midgard level. But so we spend some time developing the game, play test it as best we can. With we have a lot of friends that play completely different play styles, so we have that advantage of playing with the different people in our group, because we got this guy over here plays, like you said, like turtles, and just tries to stay to himself to play a game, even if it's not part of the game. It's like, that's why you don't win all the time. The other guys that are very aggressive game players, and it's important to be able to have those different players play your game to make sure that it's balanced and can handle the different people out there. So, but yeah, when we get it ready to go, we just, okay, time to go to Kickstarter with it, and that's what we do. Whereas you're like, okay, time to find somebody else to handle the rest of it.
But of course, that's only when the game is done. It takes an extra year, right? The process, of course, of making the game is even longer. But my rule of thumb is, if I make a game fast, it's usually the better ones. If I get
Yeah,
stuck tweaking and trying to fix stuff, it's usually because the initial idea wasn't as pure as the other ones.
I can see that.
I think my first playable prototype of Champions of Midgard was like 75 or 80% done already. I mean, of course, we played it a lot and tweaked and improved on it, but it was like, yes, this is the direction. This is what we're doing. This is awesome. So that's when I don't have to start over all the time. That's usually the better designs, I think.
No, I can definitely agree with you there. Like, it's when you have that sudden like game just pops into your brain, and you're like, oh, and you gotta start writing everything down right then, because otherwise you'll forget it. And those are usually the designs that go pretty quick and need a lot less not so much tweaking, because every game sounds so great till you play it the first time, and then you're like, oh, this is kind of broken. But you get to them a lot faster. So, and
Yeah,
I guess it's because you're kind of like, it's like a roller coaster. You're kind of on it, and you're just going for it. So
yeah, and you have the energy, if it because it's fun and it works like how you thought it would be. Uh, and usually it's fun. We had a playtest. Yeah, I had a playtest yesterday, and the game was unbalanced. And it's funny because usually when people are most upset when they playtest your games, it's because of imbalance, and it's usually the easier things to fix. I'm happy when the game is just unbalanced, because I can tweak some numbers and it will probably work. It's more if a mechanic doesn't work, or if it's unclear or ambiguous or whatever, that's harder to fix, or if it's simply not fun. But if people get upset because it's unfair and unbalanced, I'm usually just sitting there being happy because that's the easier fixes. Uh, but that's the one that shows the most when you're testing it, right? It's like, oh, that's not fair. My
yeah,
battle wagons are too expensive or whatever. Okay,
and you're
I'll
like,
lower the
okay,
price.
well, we'll turn it
No
down a
problem.
little bit.
Yeah.
That's what we always find when we were playtesting one of our expansions, and we're playing it, and I'm like, this isn't going to work mechanically, because the rules that you have surrounding this expansion, I'll never even get to play that expansion, because it'll always be the first two players will always control it.
Hmm.
And then we're like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then the guy who's controlling, he's like, well, no, that's not fair. And I'm like, it's not fair that you would control the entire game. Like, no. So we had to tweak a few rules to make it make more sense. Because, like I said, otherwise it's just like, well, so glad we added tractors. I'll never get to play a tractor because of the way the rules are stated. We liked what the tractor did, just the mechanic around how do you control it, like, had to tweak and change.
Do you have
But
any
we
games
also,
in production now? Then.
yeah, we have a tile placement game called Fences that we self published, and we've got it. it's going, and we got a second run being printed right now. Hopefully we have it in time for the fall for some of the conventions that we're trying to get to this fall. We got an expansion pack coming up for that this September. And then we've got an 18 card game. And we've got, I'm trying to think, then we got our worker placement game, which kind of started it all, but then just kind of got put on the back burner. We got a worker placement game with an economic mechanic on the side. So you're trying to collect the resources to make product, then take them to market. But as they get sold at the market, they become worth less and less and less. So you're trying to, do I make a whole bunch and sell them all at once? Or do I go sell it when it's worth the most? Or do I try to get 3 or 4 and then go sell it when it's worth the most? And then as you sell them, they become, $5 versus $4, 3, 2, 1. And then, nope, market doesn't need any more of those. So that'll probably be middle of next year. Then we got another one, more of a family-oriented game for January-ish, February-ish.
Cool.
That one's Shark Hunt, which we've got it all together. So it just needs to be we're going to work on some stretch goals for it, some additions to it, and then we'll put it back out next year.
I'll keep my eye out for that for sure.
It's too early here in St. Louis. I don't know where my own stuff is, but yeah, we've got a lot of games in the, like you said, we got between my business partner and I, we got a lot of games in the hopper that we're trying to funnel down and try to make them one at a time or 2 at a time. But it's a slow process when you're trying to also run the company on the side, and well, there's my game.
Makes sense.
Do you do a lot of conventions? Do you go out to a lot of conventions, or just Essen Spiel?
No, it's just Essen Spiel. But I think I should finally get out there and get to more conventions. I want to visit Gen Con, right? I was envious of you people seeing all the photos and reportations and reports from there.
Yeah.
And maybe Gamma.
Just this past weekend.
Yeah. But yeah, I've only gone to Essen, but I've been there every year for 11 years now. So it's my go-to conventions, like I said.
Well, if you're going to go to one, you might as well go to Essen, right?
Yeah, only the pandemic stopped me from going.
So how long have you been designing games?
Well, forever. You mean professionally? Board games, video games. It's
board games. I love how your LinkedIn. By the way, I want to mention this. I like how your LinkedIn title is a battle hardened game designer.
Yes, with all the goods and bads, right? I'm a war veteran.
That made me laugh. I was like, nice.
I have scars with pixels and cardboard in my skin. But board games I've done around 10 years, right? Because Police Precinct was my first published board game, and that I think it came out in early 2013. And well, of course, we worked a lot on that before it came out. So yeah, a bit over 10 years. So, but I worked on it for a long time as a side project next to my full-time job, which was computer game design. So that was pretty cool, doing digital games at day and then cardboards at night. But now I work full-time as self-employed in the board game industry. But actually, as it turns out, and pretty obviously, I'm actually working on cardboard adaptations of computer games, which is pretty obvious, because I've been in both businesses for so long. So that's fun to kind of combine the two, see how to convert digital games into board games. And of course, Deep Rock Galactic is the first and best example of that.
It's awesome. I mean, yeah, I work for a construction company during the day. So first board game idea I had was a construction related game. So That's the worker placement game. We're still kind of, it's ready to go. We have to find time and money to get the artwork together on it and start doing some, prototyping, like full prototyping rather than just the cards and the meeple I've stolen from other games. And
Yeah.
I've got cubes I've bought. So do you have like a whole like shelf of game pieces that you scavenge from when making your game prototypes?
Yes, but it's usually spread out on the table or covered in buried in papers and boxes. I try to keep it neat in my cave, but yeah, I have a lot of stuff. I go to a Spielmaterial, right, and they send me stuff when I need game components. Um, that's usually how I get my game components. And then of course
Nice.
I print a lot myself, not in 3D, but just put something together in Photoshop or and then put it.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's what all ours are. I have a card creator that's off of Steam, and I just kind of, move stuff around and make my cards that way at first,
Yeah.
just to like, does the, does the game work? Does this graphic design idea tell what I want it to tell on the card so that everybody can see how what this card means and does. And then I print them off, and I've got like I got different. Oh no, this version didn't work, and then I got this version. A little tweak in here, though. We'll get rid of that card too, and but
Yeah.
cards are pieces of paper, so they're cheap to work with. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, and
When
then
I
I've
was
got
done, when I had done the police precinct, I had like a big trash bag full of discarded cards and boards, mostly cards. It was crazy how many iterations we went through. So yeah, burning through a
that.
rainforest
That's
just to make
awesome.
a game. It felt like it.
Well, I mean, you recycle it and feel a little bit better about it,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
That's awesome. That's cool. I mean, yeah, I would love to, build my company up to where I can do it full time, but right now it's just it's not in the cards, if you will. So, but yeah, but it's great. I think it's awesome that you're able to do board games and video games, and then now you do board games of video games. So,
Yeah.
so there you go. Way to combine everything all at once. Is there any more Midgard coming out? Anything else you're working on in that world?
No, not specifically in Midgard. I'm happy that Greyfox is doing a lot of promo cards. I'm not designing those, but they do add to the game a lot. So I'm not working on anything in Midgard, but we are working together on some new ideas for other games. I mean, Greyfox is a great company. I really enjoyed working with them. So hopefully we can do more stuff together.
No, they're a good company. They're solid. The people that they have at the convention, like I said, they're out of St. Louis right here.
Yeah,
I see them at the conventions all the time, and the people they have working there are real nice. And I always go make sure I've got everything, all the latest promos of Midgard. The only thing I don't have that makes me so mad are the Viking meeple. I want to get those Viking meeple, but they're always out of stock. I'm like, come on, get them in stock. It's like the only thing left I don't have are the Viking meeple. I'm like, I need the
yeah,
Viking meeple because that would be really cool. Because even the little, they have like helmets or the little scoring pieces that go on the board are all
yeah.
helmets, and like I just have flat round discs. Come on, I need the helmets. I need the table presence of those.
Do we have
That would
the
be
like the meat bones for food then instead of the red cubes? Awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely, I can't stand cubes. They drive me nuts. But then like my game's always got cubes in it because they're cheap and easy to find, right?
Yeah,
And then you're like, okay, first thing I'm gonna do, first stretch goal, get rid of the cubes. It's always like one of my favorite things to get rid of, cubes. Because like, well, I see you got King of Tokyo there is one of my all time favorite games as well.
yeah,
And they came with the the energy cubes, but then you can get the little add-on that has like the lightning bolts that you use for energy instead of the cubes. And that was one of the first upgrades I ever bought, was to get rid of the energy cubes and move to the lightning bolts. So that was fun. But yeah, it was also one of the first box organizers I ever bought, was for King of Tokyo, to fit
Okay.
all the expansions in the same box.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't have the Jarl edition, so I don't have the nice big box for Midgard, but I do have the box organizer that keeps it all in my normal box. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I only have a limited amount of shelf space, so I've got to be aware of how much space I'm taking
Oh,
up.
we have the same problem, but I just find new shelves. We have a laundry room also in the basement, and now it's also it's a laundry and board games storage room. Probably not the best combination if you want to preserve cardboard to put it in where your laundry is, but well, the kids' games can go there. Not my designs.
So, what does your 10-year-old play? I have a 10-year-old. I'm just curious.
He played. He was playing with us in Horrified and in King Domino. And Domino is also good for training a bit of math skills when you do the score calculations at the end, because you have to multiply your numbers to see your score. So that's mainly that. But he's not as patient, of course, as the older one. And he plays most of the games that we play. But I mean the big strategy games I tend to play just with my friends, because they also kind of take longer.
Yeah. No, my son and I play a lot of games together, and one of he likes to play Midgard, but I always find it's better with more players. And
Yeah.
so when it's just him and I, like, it's still a fun game, but man, it's way better when you have 3 or 4 people and you're all fighting over trying to get to the right monsters, and who's battling the troll this round.
Yeah.
Somebody has to battle the troll, or we're all getting blamed. I'm like, well, I'm getting blamed either way, so if you go battle him or not, I'm going to end up with the blame.
I haven't actually
So
played Champions yet with my kids. I think the oldest one is ready for it now, so I have to introduce it to him. But of course, he's also playing a lot of video games, right? Um, but my youngest, we also rediscovered Games Workshop games. So we're playing Warhammer 40,000 and Space Hulk. So that's fun, because I played that when I was teenager myself. So it's fun to rediscover them. So
Space Hulk's so hard to find, so you must have like your copy from when you played.
yes, we have the. It's I think it's the first edition. It's not beautiful, but it's a vintage, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It's
and it
not
was painted
old.
by
It's
myself as a teen, before I knew anything about coding and all that stuff. So it's like one layer only. Not beautiful, but the gameplay is still fun.
but it's got a special place in your heart.
Yeah. Again with the aliens thing, right? So that's
That's
what
right.
Space Hulk is doing.
Did you ever play Awful Green Things from Outer Space?
Yes, I had the version with the in a VHS box, with all the small tokens, and you unfolded the board. Yeah, yeah, that was fun as well.
That's another one that's like Nemesis, where every round the things are getting bigger and you're trying to save your ship or just get off of it and blow it up.
Yeah, and it's so fun that you don't know which weapons will actually make this thing worse or not. So you
Yeah.
try out some fire extinguisher or whatever, and then suddenly the creatures multiply or grow or whatever. It's so fun. Yeah.
Oh man, I have the Steve Jackson version that he put out. Oh my gosh, years ago now, but somebody was selling it on the internet, on Facebook, and so I met up with the guy after work and bought it off him. And oh, what a riot! That game's a blast. So another one of the aliens themed games.
Yeah.
So if anybody wanted to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
Uh, I think they can find. I'm not that much on social media. I'm on Facebook and Twitter. They can just find me by my name, Ole Steiness, or Ole Stein, which is OLYSTEIN. Um, and but or look me up on Board Game Geek. I always reply when people write to me on Board Game Geek. That's probably the easiest way.
All right. And I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. Like I said, your Game Chambers in Midgard has been a staple. It's the first game that I saw on tabletop where I was like, oh my gosh,
Cool.
I've got to get this game. I've played it a lot. I mean, I love the game. It's such a fantastic game, and I'm just glad that you were so approachable and easy to talk to. And
Thank you.
of course, we had to wait on your vacation and then my vacation. And I'm sure yours was probably a little bit better than mine. I think you mentioned snorkeling. I didn't do any snorkeling on.
We found a good offer to go to the Maldives, which is quite different from Copenhagen, I can say. So we brought the family. I was very interested to see if the kids were into the snorkeling. Luckily, they were. So that was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, vacationing over there in Europe's a lot different than vacationing here in the United States. I can tell you that. A lot more different things to see over there than there is here.
Well, you have greater nature, I think, more diverse nature than we have at least in Denmark, where we have no mountains or anything. We do have beaches, though, but that's it.
I live in St. Louis. I don't have mountains or beaches.
Okay.
I have the Mississippi River, which I wouldn't get in if anybody paid me to step my foot in that.
Yeah, I can see traveling abroad is more expensive, probably, right? Everything is further away.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I was talking with one of my coworkers. She's originally from England, and she said the same thing. Like, traveling over there, you can just get in a car and drive across the country border and, no problem. Like, but here, especially in St. Louis, you're hours from a border to drive over, and, it's a whole different vacationing system over here as it is over there. So, as usual, if you guys want to reach out to me, it's eatlunchandboardgame.com or facebook.com/groups/eatlunchandboardgame. You can email me at eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And remember, board games build bridges. When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.